right, we are live on the show with 12-year vet, first-round draft pick, and current coach of the 76ers. And also, we forgot to mention Big Ten Player of the Year. You remember those days?
Yeah, you keep it. You kind of leaving some accolades out, but yeah, I remember them days like it was yesterday.
And what happened with that? I was reading on the Big Ten Player of the Year, and then there was an asterisk. Did something happen with like grades with the team or like the Michigan thing?
Yeah, I'm probably the only guy in Big Ten history to win Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Really?
Yeah, in the same year.
And they took it all.
Yeah, because of academic. We had an academic scandal. We had a lady that was doing our papers. She didn't get caught with me.
You didn't do anything.
I just did what a 20-year-old, 21-year-old guy would do. Which kind of hurt me in the long run, but I think I learned a valuable lesson from that. And it just, having kids now, and I don't hide anything from them.
Yeah.
Like, I tell them how I was raised. I tell them what the pits and the downfalls that I went through my life, and especially in college and high school. So, that's something that I'm not proud of, but I learned from it, and it shaped me as a man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, I remember in college I used to remember those Scantrons? Mm-hmm. And we had all the answers because we would be traveling, and then we would just fill it in. But it's like, who wouldn't do that? You know what I mean? But so Big Ten, that's still a big deal, right? How was that? So you grew up in North Carolina, right?
Yes.
And then you went to community college.
Yes.
So what was the reason for that? Was there just not a lot of scouts at a high school, or did you develop later? Or
I was really good in high school, right? And I was one of the top players in the state of North Carolina. I think the one thing that I didn't do was I didn't pay attention to my education.
Yeah.
Right. And I solely relied on just sports, right? Mm-hmm. And my mom worked 2 jobs. And my dad was never around, so she didn't really have the time to make sure and pay attention to that side because she was busy trying to provide for me and my twin sister. Mm-hmm. But it taught me, again, like my life has been tough and I've been through so much, but it taught me a lot about, staying grounded, being humble, but persevering through a lot of negative things that you go through your life. And I think that was one of the negative things. I was a really, really good basketball player. In JUCO, I had to go to JUCO because I didn't have the grades.
Got it.
And it was.
Did you have colleges looking at you? Like, you had a lot of good colleges there, right? In North Carolina. You had Duke,
I did.
UNC.
None of them recruited me because they said I was too small.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and I really didn't shoot the ball that well in high school. And guess what? I averaged 29 points a game my senior year in high school. No, my junior year, and then I averaged 22 my senior year. So I just didn't have the accolades because I was a small, fast guard, and Carolina didn't recruit me. North Carolina State didn't recruit me. Duke didn't recruit me. Georgia Tech. Like I grew up in the ACC. Mm-hmm. So none of those schools recruited me, so I ended up going to junior college in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, which is Western Nebraska Community College.
I was just going to ask because I'm like, okay, you're in North Carolina, so clearly you're going to go to a community college in Nebraska. Like how did that exactly transpire? Because obviously there's other community colleges closer to you. What brought you over to that particular spot?
Man, it's crazy. My high school coach went to school with my junior college coach.
Okay.
And so they kind of went to college together, played ball together, and he knew that I needed to get away from the state of North Carolina, just by the crowds that I was hanging around and the activities I was getting involved with. So, and I kind of knew that at an early age that I needed to get away. And I knew I wanted to be a basketball player, and I knew I wanted something better for myself. And like growing up in a drug-infested area, the projects, dad's never around. You're seeing a lot of stuff that can shape you as a young man. So that was one of the reasons why I went away. Both my high school coach and my college coach, reached out. He reached out to the college my college coach, and it was smooth sailing from there.
That's pretty cool because I do think that's an important thing, like you talk about, is seeing another world, like not just being in the same place you've always been with, the same people you've always been with. And I think college is one of those amazing experiences where you got a lot of young people, a lot of new ideas, a lot of fresh, fun things going on. I don't know how it was out in Western Nebraska. I feel like you probably had some fun things going on out there too, but
Yeah, I had a lot of fun things going on. I had 2 kids in junior college.
Too much fun.
Man,
that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot to do in Nebraska, so that makes sense. After you're done cow tipping.
That's the only damn thing to do is probably start. I'm just keep it PG.
You don't have to, but you may. Yeah.
You had fun. Yeah.
You had a good time. You had a good time. But I found that interesting too, and I read that also in high school that actually you didn't start playing basketball until your sophomore year, right?
Yes.
Like that was something. So freshman year you weren't there, and then all of a sudden sophomore.
Look at the research on this guy. That's impressive.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I played. The crazy thing about me, man, I played basketball every day, and I grew up on the playgrounds, and I love playing rec basketball.
Yeah.
Right, and I was really, really good. I was better than the average, normal, standout kid at my age, and as I got through high school, I just didn't do competitive sports. I didn't play in junior high. I didn't go out my 9th grade year, and the only way I went out my 10th grade year, my college, I'm in the gym hooping in gym class, and I'm killing them. I'm killing them. It's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Right, and I end up starting on the varsity team.
Wow.
My sophomore year, averaged like 17. Then my junior year averaged 29. Then my senior year averaged 22. So
29's a lot in high school.
I was one of the
you're
top
playing like
scorers.
3-minute quarters. That's insane. Yeah.
I was really good. But again, the thing that kept me back was my grades and not doing. I did enough to get by and did enough to graduate. And and looking back, as I got to junior college, it kind of hurt me because I had to really dive into my books. I had to go to summer school if I wanted to be eligible to play basketball. And as you know, when you get to college, it's a total different game plan. And you got to study, you got to write papers. And so it was kind of like a shock for me because I didn't have to really do all that in high school.
To be honest, I think it probably is better for you being in a community college, getting that, that smackdown, because you actually, like I was talking to someone else about this, when you go to like smaller schools, you actually have the ability to talk to your teachers and really dive in and get that help. So I think that's a lot better. I know a lot of people that went right into these big schools right away, and that was hard. And when I went from small school to UC Santa Barbara, all of a sudden it's like, wait, I can't just get these classes. I'm on a wait list. Like, what's this all about? And so these smaller colleges, I think, provide a great opportunity for someone like that. So it sounds like you got a lot out of this. It wasn't just basketball.
No, really, it wasn't.
This was more man building than it was basketball building at this point. So that's awesome.
No, that was amazing because just to touch on what you're saying, like I think a lot of people, you don't know what you're going to do your first couple of years in college anyway.
Yeah.
So why go to a 4-year school and throw all your money away? You can get the same AA at a JUCO,
same degree,
and it's going to be the same degree,
same classes.
You just got to make sure your credits
can
transfer over to the university. But I think if you're undecided about what you want to do, I think that's going to happen your first couple of years of college anyway. And then you look at major universities trying to enroll because it saves you so much money. A lot of kids and a lot of adults, they go into financial stress and got all these loans they got to pay back because they got to pay these 4-year universities back, and then it's hitting them on their credit. So I think you should. I love junior college. I had a amazing time.
Didn't we watch that together? Last Chance U. You ever see that? That was a great show.
I had an amazing time in junior college, and I was talking to a couple of my friends from junior college. They congratulated me from getting the promotion, going to the 76, and I still keep in contact with people. And this is in 90, I graduated in 92.
Yeah.
Like, I went to junior college in 92. Like, man, that's 30. That's 30 years ago,
You're
bro.
aging yourself.
Man, tell me about it. You know what I'm saying?
10 years ago. What are you talking about?
So,
The 80s
just to have that foundation, the friends,
Well, it humbles you too.
Man, it does.
Yeah, you're in Nebraska. I mean,
I wanted to go home.
yeah,
I tore my ACL my first day of practice, and I was ready to book it.
yeah.
Like the very first day of practice, right? And
So you tore your ACL.
I tore my ACL. Very first day of practice. I called my mom, like, I want to come home. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I can't play basketball. She was like, what are you going to do when you come back here? Nothing.
Yeah.
Stay out there and suck it up.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just who she was.
Well,
right?
Imagine if you made that choice and went home. Your life would be completely changed forever.
Done.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a strong enough mom, because a lot of moms like to cuddle.
Yeah.
Coddle their kids.
My mom would have said, "Come home, come on home. I'll do your laundry for you. Let's go. Let's make it happen."
I didn't have that type of mom.
Poor
She was
baby.
like, no, you got to figure this out, right? And you coming back to a place that where there's a lot of pitfalls and traps, and right, and a lot of my buddies that end up probably going to prison, getting killed. So I was one of the lucky ones that really made it out. But I think you go through a lot of things in life that shape you as a man.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the junior college shaped me as a man. My childhood shaped me as a man. The University of Minnesota shaped me as a man. So I had a lot of things and a lot of people that impacted my life that helped shape me as a man.
So especially mom. I mean, your mom.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. And so you tear your ACL. Did you gray shirt?
Yeah, redshirted. So
Okay.
I was in junior college for 3 years instead of 2.
And then you tore it up there. And then where were your choices out of JC?
Well, I had Minnesota, University of Minnesota, I had the University of Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Could have been a Hoosier?
I could have been a Hoosier.
Oh, man.
I got to tell you a story about that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma came to visit me, Wake Forest, Miami, Cincinnati, and it was another one. But those are my 5 schools.
Wow.
That I looked at, like that came out to visit me. The crazy thing about Indiana, Bobby Knight came to visit me.
Wow.
He was there no longer than 15 minutes. He came in, sat down, and was literally like, you know what Indiana basketball is about? I ain't got no brochures. I ain't got no videos. Are you signing or not?
That's awesome.
Literally.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Not if
Wow.
I wasn't a grown man at the time, if I was probably 18, 19 years old, I probably would have been peer pressured into signing
Yeah.
at that time.
He's intimidating.
But because I had
He's a good salesman. Jeez,
yeah, because I had a kid at the time. I was 22 years old. No, I was 21 years old. I was kind of old enough, and I kind of knew the lay of the land. I was like, can I come visit? He said, no, you don't need to come visit. You know what Indiana basketball is about. I said, what if I don't like the campus? Oh, you're going to love Indiana basketball. Who doesn't love Indiana basketball?
Yeah.
And I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, he got up and walked out so fast.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. Good luck to you. I was like, all right. He would not let me come visit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And then how was Minnesota? Like, how was that experience other than just freezing?
You know, they recruited me the hardest.
Yeah.
Right, Coach Davis, and Milton Barnes, those 2 guys, and I still keep in contact with them today. Right, they recruited me the hardest, and I would say that probably the biggest thing for me that made me go to the University of Minnesota, I wanted to play for a black coach. I never played for a black coach before, and that was one of the deciding factors. Right, and it helped shape me, and it showed me a different side of what coaching is like. But he was hard and stern. Right, and I've never had that. Right, when you play, you can talk to people any type of way. I couldn't do that to him, so it was a challenge. I wanted to be challenged, and for me, I looked at who was starting, who was coming back, and for me, that had the best situation for me to go in and interject myself, my athleticism, my personality into a starting role, and it kind of worked out for me. A lot of people don't work out that way. But it worked out for me.
And you guys went pretty far in the tournament, right?
Yeah, went to the Final Four.
Final Four. Wow. How was that experience?
It was amazing, man.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best sports moments of my life. How many people that play basketball get to say they went to the NCAA tournament, went to the 19th and the Final Four, right? And then I was on the most improved players on the all tournament team. So it just shaped my life and shaped my career, and right, it gave me a foundation, and it started there to start this draft process. But it was an amazing process, man. Unfortunately, ain't none of it in the record books.
That's what they
Ain't
did.
nothing.
What other team
Michigan.
they did? Michigan.
Yeah. I was
Michigan.
going to say to the U for football too. I think they did a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff too. Stripped them of a bunch of their records.
Or and then USC football with Reggie
yeah,
Bush.
Reggie Bush, yeah.
That's not, like, who doesn't cheat in college?
Come on, man.
I mean,
And I'm not proud of it.
No,
I think
but
when you
it's
have
just-
kids, like it's a learning lesson for
Yeah.
you. I think when you're an athlete, right? You always you at the time I looked at the easiest way,
everyone did.
especially with practices, studying, like to figure out like, man, this paper is I'm gonna be up all night writing this paper.
But Reggie Bush, they took his Heisman away.
Yeah, man.
It's like I get like a
that was
punishment.
because of the money.
Yeah.
And now these kids is getting paid so much money,
Yeah.
and now you want to take his Heisman Trophy based on the money that he got paid while he was in college.
Yeah.
But now these kids get to make $2 million, and now
Yeah.
you won't give him his
It's
Heisman
insane.
Trophy back.
I get like you got to have some kind of sanction or a suspension or something, but to take away like it never happened.
Right.
Yeah,
But it happened.
it happened.
Yeah,
was
you
there.
were there. You can't take
Guys
that
were
back.
number one seed going into it too. I mean, like this, it's not like it was,
And then have you so getting to the 76ers job, which is awesome. That's so cool. We were all excited for you.
Oh yeah.
What is Minnesota? Have they looked at you at all? Because I look at their record, they're like 9-22. How come they haven't called you?
Talking about the University of Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, they was bad this year. My
Yeah.
boy Ben Johnson, he's a young, amazing coach.
Yeah.
And it's just like he had a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
He had a lot of injuries, and actually, it didn't play into his favor. Right? He got so many injuries, had so many guys leaving, going into the transfer portal. So I think this year they'll be way much better. He has a whole new roster, and he has a lot more talent. And then hopefully he keep his guys healthy. And you never know with the game of basketball or the game of football or baseball that injuries are part of the game. So hopefully they stay healthy. I'm always watching them and rooting for them. And I think he's an amazing coach. He's just got to get the guys to be healthy and stay on the floor.
have they ever contacted you? Because I know you've been coaching since 2011.
Yeah.
Have they ever reached out to you, or do you think because of all the academic stuff, they're
I think so. I think because of the academic stuff and the NCAA tournament and the NCAA, I think that coaching college basketball will be tough. And I would it's tough to do it because it's like you got to babysit.
Yeah.
You got to make sure guys are eligible.
now they're getting paid?
You got to pay guys, and you got to pay them a lot of money to come to the university, and they ain't even earned a spot on the roster yet. So it's just real crazy how the world has changed. But I haven't thought about coaching college at all.
I don't blame you. Like I said, I think in a lot of ways it is more babysitting. It is more being a dad than a coach because you're dealing with all these issues, not so much on the court issues. And that's not – it's better with the NBA. I think you're dealing more so with on the court type issues. But I did want to go back. So you were at the University of Minnesota, and then, of course, you said you got drafted in the first round. Did you kind of know where you were going to go? Were you kind of expecting a certain spot or –
No, I didn't know I was going to go.
Yeah.
Right. And with all the accolades that I had throughout my senior year, I still wasn't highly projected to go in the first round. They had me late first, early second, right? And I didn't get invited to the draft room,
yeah.
right? The top 20
Oh,
You're
top
good.
20
You're good.
too much Celsius over there. Gotta
the
be
top
careful.
20, the top
Love
25
it.
guys got invited. A good thing about it, I went to the draft anyway.
Yeah.
Really?
Right? I went to the draft anyway. I came out the stands like Superman. I came out the stands like Superman. And the good thing about that as well, it was in Charlotte. My hometown.
well, there you
I
go.
was right down the road from me.
Oh, your mom probably was so excited.
Man, I had the whole
family.
the whole hood with me, man.
The whole damn family was
Man,
there.
I had my whole people with me. It was an amazing. It was just an amazing memory, right? Just to have all my family, my friends, and people that I grew up with, just to get them, just for them to be in that situation. And I think getting drafted is such an honor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have missed that, even if I was going to the second round. Like, because a lot of kids, you don't get that.
No.
Like, but people
Ever.
treat it like it's like when you go to the draft now, people won't show up because they feel like, oh, I ain't going high enough.
Yeah.
Like, man, you should be very thankful that you have this opportunity because so many people want to be in their shoes. They are some people are insecure about where they may fall, and they probably can't deal with the realizations that they've dropped so low.
I think for a lot of guys, it's probably just the constant media talking about it, right? Like, it's just like all I'm hearing is about where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? I would think that you get kind of tired of that. So, but it's so funny to me because I think about this a lot. The guys that did fall that were like, that camera's on them and you see their face dropping and stuff. And a lot of those guys, I don't remember doing well afterwards, like Johnny Manziel's one where it was like, oh, where's this guy going to go? And it kind of kept going farther down. And then he finally gets drafted. And it's like, well, okay, now what? Like, these has to play football now. But I do want to get back because I thought it was pretty interesting. I was looking at, so you got drafted by the Supersonics, who were, I think, the number 1 seed the year before in the West. I mean, they were just loaded with talent. We're talking Gary Payton, Sean Kemp.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And then you get traded to the Denver Nuggets, who were a little bit different.
Yeah, it was a little bad.
A little bit different of a roster. If I'm not mistaken, there was a 50-win difference between the Sonics and the Nuggets. So I got to ask you, was there ever a point where you're like, damn it, if only I was back there in Seattle, even if I wasn't on the court, at least we'd be winning. But
the craziest thing about that, man? Like, I think wherever I went and wherever I played, I've always won. Right? And so getting into the NBA my rookie year, I think we won maybe 13 games.
Wow.
I didn't want to say the number. It was 11.
11.
11 and 71.
Yeah. That was probably one of the hardest things to deal with because I was a winner.
Yeah.
And I prided myself on winning. But when you get to the NBA, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody's talented. Right. And the mindset going in, you gotta have a tough mindset. You gotta be built different. You gotta have a great work ethic. So it was a shock, right? But I went out every single night and I competed my ass off.
Yeah.
Even if I knew we was gonna lose, like there was no question that I was not going to not leave it on the line every single night.
I think it paid off. I noticed that you got picked for, I think it was all rookie second team that year in the NBA, which is, I mean, only 10 people are getting that accolades.
Yeah.
And you were also in a year where Tim Duncan came out. So there's one that's already gone. That's one spot that's no one's taken. But
no, without a doubt.
And on an 11-win team.
The 11-win team.
A lot of that kind of team with that record, it's hard to get anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Duncan was the man.
Yeah.
My very first game was against Tim Duncan.
Oh, no way.
Our very first game. And that's always going to be a classic because he's always going to be mentioned as one of the greatest.
Yeah.
I had 28 that game. Very first game in the NBA.
Really? 28?
That's awesome.
You started
I started right out the bat as soon as I got to the NBA.
28.
28.
Not bad. Did you guys win?
No.
No. I was going to say that would have been even worse. You guys go 1-0, and then all of a sudden.
That was a tough year, man.
Yeah.
And then where did you go after that? You went to
I got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah. And then the Kings, right?
Yeah, and then I signed with the Kings as a free agent in 2000.
And then how was that experience? I mean, that seems like your home, right? I mean, you're living here now. You've been here a while. Was that a tough adjustment or what? Like what?
Actually, I'm going to tell you guys a crazy story. When we came here in 97, I was like, man, downtown Sacramento, this shit sucks. Man, I was like, yo, this is in 97. This is 26 years ago.
Yeah.
Bro,
You weren't
downtown
wrong.
was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Wow.
No clubs, no nothing.
No.
So I was like, bro, I didn't know when the hell I'm playing in Sacramento. I would ever play in Sacramento. 3 years later, I signed as a free agent, and I haven't left ever since.
Yeah.
Right. And just the moral of the story: shut the hell up. Don't say what you are not going to do.
Yeah.
Right. I think God has a tremendous way of working something in your life, and you have no control over it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, man. You got a chance to play at a lot of different cities. Obviously, like you said, when you went to Sacramento, not so much. But I'm wondering, what was one of the cities that you went to where that was always a good time? What was a place that you like going to?
My favorite city is Miami.
Yeah. Just about to say
I
that.
love Miami.
Yeah.
I love Miami, man. It's just the weather, the different cultures, the different food, just a different vibe. Like the tropical
weather,
the tropical weather. Right, it's hot, but man, you can't beat Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Right, and you got so many nationalities, so many ethnicities.
Yep.
Right, and cultures embedded in Miami. Like you can't go wrong. Right, and it's rich in culture. At the end of the day, right, and I like culture, and I like learning different things, and I love being around different ethnicities and nationalities, and I think that's something that's always been intrigued by me, right? And Miami is probably one of the dopest cities, just based off who they are, and what they bring to the table. Like I'm talking about, they may have 10 different nationalities in Miami, and you don't even like. And
a huge like, Cuban vibe, and it's
Cuban, Jamaicans,
Puerto Ricans,
Dominicans. Like it's
a whole different energy out there.
It is Africans. Like it's so diverse.
It's a true melting pot. Which is,
it is. Like and so for me, I like it because you have that, right? And whatever food you want,
you got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's
a little different in Sacramento.
Oh, way different in Sacramento.
A little bit. We're getting better. Sacramento's getting better.
So you talk about Tim Duncan, right? It was a beast. I think we were talking about it. We were playing dominoes one day with all three of us, and I remember you mentioned Allen Iverson was the best player you ever played against. Tell me about that.
I said the hardest.
The hardest.
The question was who was the hardest to guard, and you said that it was AI, and you said it fast. So I was like, okay.
The best player I played against was Michael Jordan, but the hardest person I had to play against was Allen Iverson. It was just for the simple fact he was just fast, athletic, quick, could score at any place on the floor, whether it's in transition, whether it's layups, pin downs, right? He's coming at you. Whether it's at the three-point line, he's coming at you nonstop. And it's tough to guard It's tough to guard anybody that has the freedom to shoot 30 times a game.
Yeah, and that fast and strong.
Yes. So
what was it like playing Jordan?
I was in awe. Really, I was in awe the very first time that I played against him. Right, and I think him being my childhood hero and idolizing him, couldn't believe that I was on the floor with him. Like you just in awe, right? And because he's shaped the game, he's meant so much for the game, but he dominated the game at a high level, right? And I think when you watch that, it's something that I'm truly thankful to be able to be on the floor and step on the floor with somebody of that magnitude.
And did you D him up? Like when you played them, were you?
No, they beat the shit out of him. They were that 72-win team.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you went against that.
They were 72 and 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that 72-win team.
Is that the best team you've ever been against on the floor, you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I've played a lot of really good teams, but nothing like that. They just had it like they was at another level.
It's the thing that people seem to forget about. They had arguably the best defensive point guard at that point with Ron Harper. Jordan, shooting guard, Pippen, and Rodman. Like, it didn't even matter who was playing center because they basically just threw three dudes out there. It didn't matter if it was,
yeah, they did.
Cartwright or who's there?
No, Wennington, Will Purdue, and Luke Longley. Basically, it was like the three guys. But
Steve Kerr.
that's what I'm saying. Like those four guys right there could lock down anyone. So basically, all you had was a center who's getting fouled to death by these three guys, and so they could lock anyone down. And I do think that to me, probably Rodman would be the scariest one because he's the most unpredictable. At least with Michael and Scotty guarding you, they're going to give it their all, but they're probably not going to be. I don't know. I just feel like he was doing a little bit more crazy
He's a
stuff.
loose cannon.
Like he might be one of those guys grabbing your balls. You know what I mean? Like when no one's looking. I feel like he's one of those
him
guys.
in the locker room. Oh, look at me! Doing the helicopter.
Right.
He brought a different aspect and a different toughness and a different energy to the game.
Yeah.
It may have been weird. Some of the things that he did was super weird, but the one thing you couldn't say about him and question about him was how hard he played.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's something that the Chicago Bulls needed. He did all the dirty work, and Mike and Scotty scored all the points, but he did all the dirty work.
Yeah.
He had like an old school Pistons kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like that dirty.
He brought that nastiness to the Bulls.
You got to have that. You got to have that in basketball, because everyone's like, "Oh, football is such a tough sport." You know, like especially with the CTE stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go into basketball. I've played both, not at obviously anywhere close to your levels, but it's a brutal sport. You don't have a helmet. You don't have.
Well,
you just have yourself.
I'm glad my mom didn't let me play.
Really?
Right? Yeah. She was like, "Nope, you ain't playing no football, player."
But I feel basketball is. I mean, there's a lot of danger there. You don't have any pads. You don't have a helmet.
You do not.
And it's a dirty sport. I mean, you go down in the paint. You got guys like Rodman.
Yeah.
The game has changed so much now that physically you can't be as physical. And the same thing as football, right?
True.
I think the biggest thing with basketball is they took away the physicality where no hard fouls, right? I think anytime you play, there is a risk that you may get concussed. But I think football is on a level where you're just smashing heads and helmets and limbs, and
there's nothing you can really do.
yeah, it's just even like with the DeMar Hamlin thing last year,
Crazy.
right? He hit, he goes down,
It's dead.
He's dead.
Unconscious. Yeah, they bring
Right,
him back to
so-
life.
He was literally dead on the field.
I think
Yeah.
whatever you do and
Crazy.
however you look at it, like when you step on the floor, right, nothing's guaranteed that you're going to walk off that floor, right? And so I think that's one of the most important things. Be thankful for who you are and what you have every single day, because life is not promised to none of us, right? So I think, with football, like, is super dangerous. Basketball is dangerous. Baseball, you got balls being thrown at your head, your face, guys getting
Golf.
Yeah.
Should have been golf.
yeah. So even golf, people getting knocked out on the golf course
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of MMA guys on the show because we had a promotion for a few years, and a lot of guys talk about how football, because there's a lot of crossover from football to MMA. And I remember James Irvin, I don't know if you know him, the Sandman, Sacramento guy. He told me, he said, football is more dangerous than MMA because MMA you can tap.
yeah.
You know, you're like, I'm done. Like, I wish I could, when I was going over the middle, I wish you were like, no, I'm good. Like, tap.
Caught the ball, Neil. No, I can't do
You
that.
can tap.
Sorry.
You just got to sell yourself out short.
Yeah.
You can't keep through with the route.
Yeah. So,
Right? But that's soft
yeah.
if you do it that way.
Yeah, so you can't. Well, then you have your whole team looking at you, right? So if you come out, you look like a pussy.
Yeah.
Straight up, like everyone's looking at you. Are you going to come out of the game, or are you going to toughen up? And yeah, it really stuck to me when he said, without a doubt, MMA is safer than football. And he's like, you don't have that helmet, you don't have that spear, and if I'm in a bad situation, where I can tap out. But yeah, we have a lot of MMA guys, and the brutal thing about MMA is it's you. Like basketball is a team,
Yeah.
football is a team. You don't have that with MMA. You're in there by yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love MMA. I just can't get punched in the face. Like I don't get it how these guys get punched in the face like
A
that.
lot, too.
That's just
Yeah.
me. Like, and I love watching it. I love watching people get knocked out or
Yeah.
kicked in the face. Right? I just can't do it. Right? And I think it's just another sport that's so dangerous. But you just got to be a different cat
Yeah.
to walk into an MMA ring and understand, like, man, I might not walk out of this ring
Yeah.
the way I walked in it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the sports that's so dangerous. Right. And it causes another high level of CTE.
Yeah.
Just because you're punching on the brain with
Yeah.
the swelling and
But
the-
you know that, right?
Yeah,
MMA
without a
guy,
doubt. Yeah,
you
you
know
know
that.
it.
You go
You
into
know
a
the risk.
cage and, some guy's trying to take your paycheck because you have the win bonus.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, and you're locked up there, and some guys literally trying to knock you out and take your money.
That's the
So it's
name
a
of the game,
different
man.
kind of.
It's a different.
It's a different kind of person. I can't do that. You know, I would never do that. But the guys we talk to, they're just so different, right? Like it's not a clear cut same guy. They all have different stories.
Yep.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
I was just going to say their toughness is really
survival of
the
the
main
fittest.
common factor. You know, a lot of these guys, it's like, how did you get into this? Well, all different reasons why, but a lot of it was basically staying out of trouble. You know, sort of the same thing you're talking about with going to the community college. You know what I mean? Like focusing on this actually kept me doing this other stuff. But, you know, talking about like the CTE stuff, I do think that MMA is at least slightly better than, say, boxing overall, because I think boxing, it's almost all you're getting hit in the head.
He hates boxing.
It's not that I hate it,
the
but
CTE because it's just constant.
it is.
It's over and
but
over.
that's what I'm saying. At the very least, if someone's got you in an arm bar and you tap out, you're not going to get a concussion from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. You know, I think that it's probably going to be one of those things that over time that we're going to see that. You know, yeah, these MMA guys, some of them are experienced with that, but I don't think it's going to be the same as like the boxers that we've seen over time. And, you know, we're talking about football players. Like I remember our dad's generation was, you know, you battled through those injuries. You did all that tough
leather
stuff,
helmet,
you know? And, you know, it was like, thanks, Dad. Do you need help with your walker right now in your 40s? Because, you know, you guys stayed in there and you played through those injuries and now you're in a lot of trouble, you know? And it's one of those things that I always say I was lucky that I sucked, because I would have gotten injured really bad if I was out there on the field all the time going against these bigger, stronger, faster players. But, you know, that's me. I'm a freaking, you know, I didn't have the athletic ability. But, you know, I think it's crazy when you're talking about how you're, you know, a sophomore just trying out for the team and then boom, you're on varsity, like just like that. So clearly you had that edge. You always had that desire, that competition, that want. So I think that's really cool, and I think that's great that you did it, you know, that you jumped forward, and then, like you say, everything that happened after that. I do want to know, like, so you're going into, you know, these NBA locker rooms, right? You're getting ready to play a game.
Jeez, where is this going to?
No, but I'm saying, what's it like in there? Is it quiet? Is it loud? Is it, you know, are people playing music? Is everyone kind of just off doing their own thing? Like, what's the vibe like before a game typically?
It just depends on who you are and what your team is and how many vets you got. If it's a young team, it's an older team, right? I think every team is different, right? Especially walking into a locker room. Some people like peace and quiet. Put your headphones on, meditate, do whatever you got to do. Just don't be acting like it's a party. Now, I've been on teams where we turn the music on and it is like a club up in there before the game.
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be some fun. So what were some of those locker rooms? What were some of the fun ones that were?
Some coaches don't even like it though, to be honest with you, right? And I think it when you're going into a game, you want to be locked in, you want to be focused, and you want to have a mindset that you're going to win this game today. Me personally, I don't think you can be locked in. If you're listening to music with your headphones on and you watching film, but if you just vibing, you dancing in the middle, like you ain't paying it. Like you're not locked into the game plan.
Yeah.
You're not locked into your opponent tonight. Like you're more worried about, oh man, I'm about to go hit the club tonight, right? The performance, who's performing at the club tonight. So that's just me. I just think, you know, some people it can benefit people, but it can also hurt people, right? But it also depends on the veterans and the players that you have on your team that can control and manage that. But again, most coaches don't like it. I didn't like it in my locker room. I had to tell the guys turn that shit off. Right? Lock in. You got a game today, right? And what are you talking about, coach, man? You messing up our vibe. Fuck your vibe. Like we got to win a game.
Stay focused.
Like you over here want to quote every lyric that Little Baby saying and Dub Baby saying and Happy Baby. Like, come on, man.
Just a bunch of babies. What's going on?
But you don't remember a defensive call or the coverages that we're running, and you just don't remember that. But you remember every rap song.
Yeah.
You know, so the process is just trying to get them to be consistent, have a focused mindset. And if you can do that while listening to music, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not against it, but when you're showing me that you have this negative mindset when you walk in the game and you're not locked in, that's a big thing that you got to kind of decipher and understand. Like for the younger guys, like being able to pick and choose when you can listen to music and when you can't, and being able to be loud and win the party and have a good, like some people don't know how to understand and interpret that misconception that happens with professional athletes and in the locker rooms with the music being played.
And we got to talk about the Lakers, right? That was a brutal series, right? The Western Finals. What happened was that there was a ref issue, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff around that time. That was sort of the Donaghy
You like the Lakers?
No.
Oh. Oh, you talking about back in the day?
No, when you played the Kings, played the Lakers.
Oh, I was like, what are you like?
Yeah, no, with the
Western Conference,
Western
Finals.
So I wasn't in Sacramento yet, but when I got here, that's all I heard about was we got robbed. This happened. The ref. What went down?
I think you got to go on TV and talk. I think you got to go on the TV. I still work in the NBA. I don't want them looking at me like I'm crazy. I think there's a documentary out about it, about that ref, Tim Donaghy.
Yeah.
I can say this. I think as the series went on, we felt like it was tougher and tougher every game, right? And I think we played a really good team, right? And I don't like making excuses. They was a much better team. That's just how I look at it, right? Regardless if everybody feels like, or I feel like, or my teammates feel like, oh, it was 8-5 out there on the floor. We still had a chance to win. Right? I think Game 7 was the best officiated game out of all the series. We beat ourselves. We missed free throws. We missed wide open jump shots. Right? So down the stretch, we had a chance to win those games. But, a lot of people are going to speculate. Again, like I said, there's a documentary out about it, right? And I'm all about no excuses, right? I can't blame somebody else.
I'll say this: I do remember watching. I want to say it was Game 6, where it seemed like every time Kobe would just swat the hell out of somebody's arm or body. It wasn't called a foul, and he would go, get the ball, and it was kind of like, oh, he got fouled on? I didn't see the foul there. What was that? There was
28 free throws in the fourth quarter.
There was a lot of that going on.
28.
I'm sitting there going, this is insane. Like, this is clearly...
Who shoots 28 free throws in one quarter?
Nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody.
So playing Kobe and Jordan, who was... there's a lot of similarities, right?
Yes.
Who was a stronger competitor, or could you even compare the two?
I think both of them was pretty damn neck and neck. I would give Mike the edge just because Kobe was a killer too.
Yeah, he was.
Now you got two guys that were just killers.
And he looked up to Jordan, so it was
right, and he emulated everything. Yeah. Like Mike taught him everything. So that's why I'm gonna say Mike, because Kobe really patented his game after Michael Jordan. Right? And I think he set the standard. Right. And I think playing against Kobe, he was probably one of the toughest guys that had a killer instinct, that wanted to put his foot on your neck and step on it.
Yeah.
Right. And he didn't feel no remorse neither. He wanted to punish you. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a reason why they call him Black Mama.
Yeah.
Right. And that name has stuck with him to this day. And I think he has set the bar so high at how you approach it, how you compete, how you become a professional, how you approach it every single day.
It was an obsession. It seemed like he was obsessed with getting better, and some people have that. Like Brady, he's got that.
Yes.
And you watch these NBA finals and in the playoffs this year, and I say to myself, I'm not going to get specific on players, but I feel like, man, if that guy had the Kobe instinct, if that guy had the Jordan instinct, that whatever that X factor is, there's so many players that I watch today. Man, if they had that, it'd be a different story in their careers.
And it's the reason why they're in the league by themselves, right? It's why they stand alone, right? It's arguably top 5, top 7. However you want to talk about it, however you want to debate it. Everybody knows Mike. Just me personally, I think Mike is the greatest player of all time, right? And then it's always a debate where you can go from Kobe, Mike, LeBron, Shaq, Magic.
Who's your top 5 after Jordan? Obviously.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, if you're going to start talking about fives, you got to ask, who's your starting five?
Man. I like to break it down by positions.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Starting 5.
Yeah,
You're gonna have Shaq.
like, yeah.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
Shaq, I don't know.
if that's what you want, right?
the most dominant center of all time.
he's the most dominant, but is he the best?
No,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
skilled.
Olajuwon, maybe. I mean, it seemed like Olajuwon could do everything.
What about Wilt?
I mean, Wilt.
He was-
Will
See, that's
was
before my
big like
time.
Shaq. He was just dominant. Like you talking about more skill. Like I look at Akeem Olajuwon, and I think he is by far the most skilled center.
Yeah.
Like Shaq was really dominant. David Robinson was just okay. Kareem could score
The hook.
his butt off, but he didn't have the skills that Hakeem had. Now he was just tall and he had a hook shot, right? You talking about Hakeem? He had every move imaginable, and you could not stop it. So I'm gonna probably go Hakeem 5. I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna go 4. I'm gonna probably go as my 4.
That's a tough one.
Man, that is tough.
I mean, I go Duncan. I personally think Duncan's the best of the power forwards, but Karl Malone's out there. You got Barkley out there.
you
You got Garnett out there. You got Nowitzki.
Yeah, you got Dirk. But I'm gonna probably. I'm
I like Malone.
gonna probably go. I'm gonna probably go. God, that's tough.
Yeah, Dirk can
know.
shoot. That's the thing.
That is tough.
See, I like Duncan just because you're going to have a lot of scorers on this team no matter what. That's a guy that doesn't need to be scoring. I feel like Malone needs to be scoring more. You know what I mean? But that's just my own personal opinion. I feel like
But Malone didn't have really no game. Like he was just a bruiser. Like Tim was like fundamentally sound, way better than him. Carl was just trying to run you over, and
he did
over and over. But I'll probably say Duncan at 4.
Yeah.
And then at 3, I'm gonna go LeBron.
Yeah.
And then at 2, I'm gonna go Mike.
Yeah.
And then at the 1,
And put AI up there.
no, can't put A out there.
Might need a distributor. Although you got LeBron already distributing, so that's pretty
Yeah,
good. But
I got LeBron already, and I might put Steph Curry.
yeah. Now you got that 3-point shooter to go with that. Yeah.
because you can't have LeBron and Mike out there that and no shooting,
No.
right? And I think that's just me. And I love Magic Johnson, but I think Steph Curry has transcended the game in his own mindset.
He's the best shooter of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing.
And again, like it's always up for debate. If you ask me this question,
But I think everyone agrees he's the
year
best
from now,
shooter.
it might be different.
I don't know. I think across the line, we get in this debate all the time. I think Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time.
Yeah,
But is he?
the best passer?
I'm from the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
And they're all Steph Curry. They think he's top 10, top 5.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think you can't be considered in the top 10 without being a dominant defender. Mm-hmm. He's getting better, but you need to have everything.
He tries.
Yeah, he's just small. You know?
He tries.
Yeah,
he tries. He's not
a terrible defender.
Yeah, he's not terrible,
but not top 10 of all time players.
as point guards, how many top point guards are really good defenders?
Stockton, Kidd, that's about it.
Gary Payton.
Gary Payton.
Yeah, the glove.
Glove's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
the
yeah.
best, I guess.
But outside of that, like Chris was really good at steals. Chris Paul was really good at steals. But he wasn't like the lockdown defender.
Yeah.
So it's tough to be a great scorer and a great defender.
Yeah.
Right. So normally you got to pick and choose which one you want to be really good at.
But then you get guys like Jordan and Kobe, and that's why they're the greatest.
That play both ways.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Steph has gotten tremendously better.
Yeah, he has.
With defending.
Because he's more like a man now. I feel like he's in the weight room because everyone's saying you're too small, you're too weak. So he's taking it personal. Yeah. But, I don't know. What do you think?
It's definitely gotten better. I mean, that's it. I was talking about this the other day that Steph, I think, is one of only 2 players in my life that I have seen break a long-standing record, break it again, and then break it again the next year. Like, it was just him and Barry Bonds with the walks record. That's the only time I've seen someone just say, oh, here was the record. Psh.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to beat that. And I'm just going to beat that again. Like I was just like, man, this guy just won't stop shooting threes. Like at some point, there was that old saying, oh, you live by the three, you die by the three, right? Like 3-point shooting is not worth it. You might as well take your 2 steps into the 2-point line. I remember a coach telling me once that like I think it changes your shots chances like 10% higher just by taking those 2 steps in. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy to me that those guys will just keep shooting up threes and they keep making them. Like that's wild. Like Larry Bird, we were talking about, one of the greatest 3-point shooters of all time. He did not shoot threes like that in the game.
Though.
But that's what I'm saying. He could have, but he
Yeah.
didn't, because that's a risky shot. And when you're 6'9", you can get up closer and take those shots. But Curry, you kind of got to stay back. But the fact that he just keeps taking a step back and how do you defend that? And so I'm wondering, you're going to be having to defend guys like Steph Curry. What do you tell your guys? How do you defend a guy like this?
Put size on him. Yeah, you put size on him, you put toughness on him, you make him fight and scratch for every point, right? You just can't give him freedom to run.
But he doesn't have that. You look at the games, and he is working for every
Everything.
3-pointer.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best, well-conditioned athletes I've ever seen, just because of how his movement and how he needs that movement.
It's such
to
a quick
create
release.
space, yes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's in phenomenal shape. And that's how because he's not the fastest, he's not the most athletic, he beats you with his movement, right? And he's figured out how to interject the game, but change the game with his shot making ability, right? And I think that's something that has allowed him just to be in a stratosphere all by himself, right? And especially being a 4-time NBA champion, right, and MVP. Right, he's
at 6'3".
Yeah, at 6'3". He's and it's harder for guys that's smarter. I mean, that's shorter to be successful in this league, because you got to work even hard. You got to work hard to interject your game, but also develop a style of play that's going to sustain and be successful for a longevity.
And when we talk about Kobe, Jordan, how they have that X factor, right? What if LeBron had that? I always think that when I watch LeBron is one of the greatest top 10 of all time, right? At least top 10. But I always wonder, I'm like, what if he had that Kobe, that little more nastiness to him? I think he would be one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, people wouldn't be calling him, like, he wouldn't be bottom 10. He would be number 1.
Yeah, because he has.
Yeah, he has
everything.
all the scoring records. He has all the records.
But he just doesn't have.
He just doesn't have that killer instinct.
Yeah.
And again, this is always a debate. Right? I love LeBron. I love what he provides for the game.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody fears him. Nobody's scared of him.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, like, you look at what he's done and what he's accomplished.
It's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
He's going to go down as arguably one of the greatest players to ever play this game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Well, what I was talking to Tim about with LeBron that no one mentions, I'm not a LeBron fan. I just feel like I want to see that Jordan, that Kobe, that nastiness. Take the shot, don't pass it. I have trouble watching that, as I know how talented he is. But on the other hand, he cover Sports Illustrated in high school, millions of dollars. He's never been in trouble. You never have any negative press. He's been with his wife forever.
Yeah, since high school.
And there's imagine if we got, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million at 18. Oh, I'd be a mess.
Ooh, and he had like a $90 million shoe.
Yeah, I think he got 100 million at 18.
With Nike.
He was wearing Nike stuff in high school, if I'm not mistaken. For the Irish or whatever it was. I think Notre Dame was his team. But
yeah, I always respected him for that. He's always been a stand-up guy, never got in trouble. And
he's a pro.
He's a pro's pro.
A great teammate. He leads by example. He does everything by example.
But I want to see that. I want to see
that nastiness, that dog in him.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Right.
I think he got pretty beat down. I mean, early on when you're looking at those Cavs teams that he played with, I mean, there wasn't a lot of talent around him, and he was leading them against super teams of the Celtics. Going against Garnett, Pierce, and Allen. I just don't see any way you're going to beat them with Zydrunas Ilgauskas and. Eric Snow. Like, I mean, these are good players, don't get me wrong, but you're talking about a different level,
You went Eric Snow.
right? Like, there's a
You
different
went way back.
right?
Eric Snow.
Right? But that's what I'm saying. That's a different level, right? And so I could see that first of all, I also think it's amazing. I was talking about this the other day. I don't know many players that were as hyped coming into the league that have lived up to the hype because
Yeah, he's the only one.
like even you can say, well, he should have won 10 titles. No. Like just anyone that has that much pressure on him that wins even 2 titles, like that never happens. You know what I mean? Those guys just don't do it. But he's won 4 titles and he's done it for all these different teams. And like, I think he's one of the most versatile players ever that I've seen. I mean, be that big and just to be able to be the point guard on your team. Like you're 6'8", 6'9", you're basically Magic Johnson, but stronger. You know, like it just seems like he is just such a physical force. And I mean, I think he's a generational talent, but I do agree that he kind of has taken somewhat of an easier route to get those championships than say.
Well, not with the Cavs.
No, that's what I'm
That
saying.
was pretty impressive.
That
solidified his legacy.
beating a
He
73
still
win
had a
team.
good team though.
You did, but
Yeah.
It ain't like he had he had Kyrie and Kevin Love and
Eric
J.R.
Snow.
Smith.
Yeah.
He loves Eric Snow.
No, you talk about Maurice. It wasn't Eric Snow. It was Mo.
Mo Cheeks.
No,
Not that far back.
yeah, that's old as shit right there.
Yeah.
But
Mo Williams.
Mo Williams, yes.
But it wasn't like the Heat team that was just stacked.
No.
You know, so that was. But everyone's like, Kevin Garnett did it. You know, you can't. I mean, I would do it. I mean, I'd want to get a championship, right?
True.
You know?
I think
The first one, however you get it, right? You just want
I
to
think
ring.
just is how he did it.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's how he did it. And, you know, he decided to team up with 2 other superstars to take his talents to South Beach.
Yeah, they did that
Right.
whole commercial thing.
Yeah, and old school basketball is like Dame Lillard. Right? He's like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm like, if
Ride
I
or
can't
die
win
in
an NBA
Portland.
championship, I'm going to ride it. Like, that's for me, I respect that more than anything because it's saying, like, I don't need to go somewhere to win, to try to win. Like, and that's the ultimate goal.
I love Dame. I like his game.
He's one of my favorites.
But
and one of the best
so many-
rappers
Clutch.
too.
Yeah.
One of the best
Clutch.
NBA rappers too.
Ever.
But guys are breaking that window just to go
Just to get
win
that ring.
Get that
Yeah.
ring. Look at Denver. Like nobody's clamoring running to Denver. Like they did it the old fashioned way.
Yep.
They built it through draft. They built it through free agency.
Yep.
Right. And there are 2 guys that they drafted, Jokic and Murray. They have been there. Right. And they've changed the face of the franchise. And I think Malone has done a phenomenal job with
What did Porter? Porter was a draft pick from Denver.
Yes.
Yeah. What was he?
So-
Yeah. So they built it from the ground up.
He was ranked. He was number 1 player in the country in high school.
Yeah.
Number 1 player in the country. Like so, he was already destined to be really, really good. He shoots the shit out the ball.
He's
He's
a
got
beast.
great size, athleticism. Right.
I like his game a lot.
Yeah. So like they've done a great job of putting a great roster together of role players that know how to play around Jokic and Murray.
Yep. And then so I want to get back to the 76ers. How did that all happen? Like what was so you were head coach of Stockton Kings, G League, and was the plan always to be a head coach in the NBA, right? You got a taste of it at that level and you're like, "Oh, I could do this."
Yeah, I think, as an ex-player, like when I first started, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? And it took me some time to figure out what I needed to do to patent my skills, to learn, to grow as a coach, right? And when you first come in the league, you are like, it's so many things going, you like this. And so for me, it took me some time to figure out what I wanted to do and what my identity I wanted to present and the coaching style that I wanted to give to the guys when I started coaching. Right. And so for me, it was more just learning, taking, pulling, coming up with your own concepts and taking people's concepts and like I think that's the good thing about coaching. You're never too old to learn, right? And I think
You got to have that mentality.
you got to have it,
Yeah.
right? And it just drives you and gives you the DNA to go out and be successful. So it came about just me and Nick forming a relationship 2 years ago. I reached out to him. I was really intrigued about him coming through the G League because he came through the G League and then became an NBA head coach and then was a
Champion.
coach of the year,
Yeah.
NBA champion. So when you're a young guy, well, ain't young.
Well, in the coaching world,
Yeah, when
you're a
I'm
youngster.
when I'm in the, when I'm in the
Children.
coaching world, right? I look at people that are walked in my shoes,
Yeah.
right? And if I go get answers from somebody that hasn't walked in my shoes, what the hell am I doing? Like I want to learn from the best. I want to know how he got there, right? And what's the steps and what's the procedures and what do I have to do to get to where you need to get to? And that's just me. I'm very inquisitive. I'm always in the know, right? I'm always open to learning and growing myself as a coach because I think the game is truly evolving and is unique in its mindset of trying to be creative and innovative in the same mindsets, but also you got to coach, right? You got to kind of uplift these guys and you got to teach them how to be pros and you want to win and you got to develop your skill set and your coaching philosophy and your DNA. You got to interject that in every single player. Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was the reason why I reached out to Nick.
And I remember seeing you in Vegas when we saw you play in the summer league and you won the championship with the Kings.
Awesome.
I could see it. You're like, okay. It was during that time. I mean, I've known you for a few years now, but watching you take pictures and afterward, I think it all kind of clicked there. I don't know. I could be way off, misleading, but I feel like that was a point where like, okay, I can do this at a very high level as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's not a huge deal. It's the summer league, but that's a big deal, right? Yeah. As you as a head coach, I mean,
no, it was a great deal.
Yeah.
It was a really, really big deal. Like it was my first opportunity to coach
yeah,
professional athletes, right? And going into it, I had a couple weeks to prepare, and I had to get to work. Right, I had to come up with my own philosophy. I had to come up with my plays, what was going to do offensively, and I had a great staff, guys that was my assistant coaches with the Stockton Kings, Will Scott and Jimmy Alapeg. They were both guys did a tremendous job with helping me diagram, come up with practice plans, scheduling, shoot arounds, offensive and defensive skills. So we kind of just went into it, mapped out everything, and said this is how it's going to be, and it kind of worked out for us, right? And again, when you have guys that's committed to winning and doing things the right way, I think the sky's the limits.
I think it's cool. It seems like it's something you're obviously very passionate about because coaching does bring with it challenges just all the time. How do I explain this to someone? How do I get it across to them? And I do often say that I think it takes a certain kind of player to be a coach. It takes someone who had to work, right? Because I don't think anyone who's just given this talent is going to be able to explain it to somebody in a way that, hey, this is kind of like what I went through when I had to do this. You know what I mean? Like having that experience, I think helps. And obviously you're someone who worked, and so I think that's cool. Was there ever any other indicators? Like, was there ever something where, maybe I want to get into do like play by play or anything like that? Or was it just right away, I want to get into coaching right when you were done?
No, I knew I wanted to get in coaching right away, but I also, during this journey and this process, I was always questioning myself. Like, why the hell is it taking so long? Why am I not getting an opportunity?
Yeah.
I remember talking to you about that. I'm like, why aren't you the head coach in Minnesota?
And so that process,
you got to pay your dues though.
Yeah,
like
you got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
But everybody's path, and this for everybody that's listening out in the world, everybody's path is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody has became a millionaire or they became a head coach, that ain't your path. Your path might be a much different path to get you where you need to get to.
Yeah.
There are coaches that don't have any coaching experience that became head coach. The guy that I beat in the summer league by 30 points, guess who he's coaching now? The Boston Celtics. He's the head coach of the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
Right? So you don't know what your
Yeah.
path is. And I'm not bragging that. Right? And I always tell people, don't worry about what somebody else is doing. Right?
You can only worry about
Yeah,
yourself.
worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Are you mad? Are you frustrated? Yes. But God is not going to give you anything that you cannot handle. And then the next thing, don't rely on somebody else's success to try to determine what your success should look like. Put the work in, get to work, and when it's time for you to get to those steps and make that leap, if you have trusted the process that you put in to your craft, then it'll happen. If you haven't put that work in, don't fool yourself. Right? And so I always question. I literally question, like, man, why I can't get a coaching job? Why I can't get an assistant job? Man, what is going on? What? But I stay grounded, I stay gifted, and I stay locked into who I was as a person and an individual. And it's easy to get distracted when things are not going your way.
But it's very similar to your basketball career. You
Oh, without a doubt.
yeah, community college,
Yeah.
issues with the Minnesota,
Yeah, man.
all that. So but I feel like when you go through hardships like that, it makes you appreciate it. And now, I mean, 76ers, that's cool. I mean, it's a big opportunity.
Huge.
And coaching, you coached since what, 2011?
Yeah.
So it's 10,
Yeah.
12, 13, 12 years.
Yeah.
And you've put in the time, but I feel like when you go through those hardships in anything, now you appreciate it a lot more.
You do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the good thing. I think that's why Nick wants me on his staff. He's seen where I come from. He's seen what I've done. He's seen how I've adapted and how I have grown as a coach in this league, right? And I think I have a lot to offer. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. Right? If you feel like I said earlier, if you feel like you have learned everything in the process of you becoming a professional in any world that you're in, I don't want to be around you.
It's funny you mentioned that. We just are you.
I was saying
putting
that mirrors
David-
exactly what we just heard. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had David Canales. He's the offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers, and literally, you guys are talking the same language, and I feel that's
Deja
why
vu.
you're in top levels. You're both in the top levels of both your professions, but he literally said the same thing.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, like the same, almost word for word.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's but it's true. You gotta have humility.
You do. You gotta have humility in anything that you do in life,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to be around somebody that's a know-it-all, right? I want to be around somebody that's humble, right? And you can take a little bit of criticism, and you can take some kind-heartedness, but you got to be able to relate to people, and you got to be able to deal with people. The X's and O's for me is easy. The relationships, the managing of the players, and the in-game management, those are the hardest things. It ain't the X's and O's because I've been doing this since I started at 9 years old.
Yeah.
Right, I've been bouncing the basketball since 9 years old. So the X's and O's and understanding and breaking down offenses and defense, for me, that's simple stuff. I've understand it. Everybody has their own terminology. Everybody's trying to change the game. But at the end of the day, how much can you change the game, right? But you can learn different, new creative ways to energize your guys and get them locked into pro. Man, I ain't never seen that before.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool though how you can say, I played against Michael Jordan, I played against Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I think guys are going to respect that. You know, like David Canales, he played football at Azusa with me, so super small school, wasn't a standout or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he got it with Pete Carroll at USC, Seattle, and worked his ass off for 13 years and just soaked in all the knowledge. But he is so humble, like the exact words you were just saying, but I think he has to be even more humble because he didn't play against Michael Jordan. He didn't, so that is what you say. is it's a big thing that he didn't do that. You know, he didn't play NFL, so it's a lot harder for him to, you know.
It's gonna be a lot hard for him because the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna Google him.
Who are
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell
Right?
me?
And
how
so
to
for
throw
me,
a
I
ball?
don't feel like I have to.
You don't have to.
I don't have to do it because they already they gonna know who I am when I walk in the door.
Yeah.
If you don't, guess what they're gonna do?
Google.
Google, and they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, okay, coach, you got some fucking game, bro."
Yeah, right.
Right? And unfortunately, that's where we are at as a society. It's all about accolades and what you did and who you played for. The smartest people are probably the guys that probably didn't play professional sports.
Well, look, Bill Belichick.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, it's all about how you come across and how you get to your guys.
Yeah.
And get them to buy into doing things the right way as a team. And can you manage them? Can you communicate with them? Right? That's huge. Right? And I think it's something that allows you to walk into an arena like me when I played. If you didn't play at this level, I didn't even have shit to say to you. Right? Because what are you gonna tell me about how to defend this guy if you ain't never done it before? I've kind of opened up my eyes because everybody can't play that level of basketball, but there are smart individuals that understand the game in a different mindset and can probably see things that you don't see. You know, so you just gotta be open to it. And when I played, like I said, I was solely against it. Man, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't tell me shit. When you do this? Now, my assistants probably didn't play.
Yeah.
Right? They're brilliant. They understand it. They played high school. They played college. But it's tough to get to this league and play at a high level and then say, be a
Did
coach.
you do it? Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's hard. And in itself, it's super hard.
Yeah, that's the cerebral aspect. You know, like you say, there's some guys that probably, even as a player, could start coaching. You know, I remember reading about Bill Russell being a player coach, which blows my mind. I mean, that's crazy to think about a guy that's calling the X's and O's out on the floor. Like, I'd be like, all right, guys, pass the ball to me. Like, what the hell are you doing? But I do wonder because I'm not totally familiar with the way it works. But obviously, there's a head coach over there at the Sixers. You're going to be one of the assistants. Is there a particular focus for you? Like, is it going to be like you're kind of focused on defense, offense, front court, back court, or is it everyone kind of just does their own? Like, everyone helps out with everything.
Well, we'll know that when we get there on the 26th.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
But Nick doesn't really like to label coaches.
Okay.
Like he think to be a really good coach, he think you should be great at all three levels. Offense, defense, and special teams. So I'm excited about it. Ready to go. I'm eager to learn and I'm ready to bring the knowledge that I've had and I've learned through my 26 years of being in the NBA and my 11 years of being a coach. Right, and I think it's my time. I think it's my time to show people what I've brought and what I can do, and just bring a different style of basketball. Right, bring some toughness and some competitive vibes and competitive edge, and the game is not hard. Just trying to bring stability and consistency and focus to the locker room and to our team, but bring a positive energy that guys can be like, man, he know what he's talking about. Man, coaches, he jacked today, right? And bringing that to a team, but also seeing that be successful, seeing them being successful on the floor, that's probably going to be the best joy for not just me, but the whole organization and Nick Nurse.
And how is it with Embiid? I mean, he's one of the top 10 players in the league right now.
League MVP.
Yeah,
he MVP.
Yeah.
Top 10, he top 3.
Yeah.
He top 3 right now.
Yeah. How does it feel that you get to coach him? Is that a pretty cool experience, or do you think you could help him a lot? Or
I think you always can help people get better, right? And I think with Embiid, I think he's going to be open to learning new things, right? And he got to adjust to a different coaching staff, right? And I think we got to be able to adapt to him and be willing to create things that he's not good at, but he needs to get good at, right? Improve. Like he's going to be really, really good at areas where he gets the ball. Can he help us defensively? Like he's just going to impact our game. When you're the MVP, he's going to impact the game on both ends of the floor because he's just such an elite scorer.
Yeah.
We got to figure out how to maximize him to make us look good because he's going to get all the attention.
Yeah.
Especially on the defensive side of the floor. And you got a game plan for that. So coming in is going to be how can we make him better? And we haven't even really talked about it yet at the end of the day.
Have you reached out to any of the players, or has that interaction even happened yet?
Nah, that's all coach.
Oh, coach. Yeah.
That's all coach. When I get there, I'll make those introductions and I'll talk to guys. But that's all coach, man. I think, he has to do it right first and then we fall in line and we create those relationships. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about trying to make sure we follow his game plan at the end of the day.
I think with Embiid, he's such a talent. But like you said, there's obviously everyone can get better. There's that humility. And I feel with him, the cardio aspect of being such a tall guy, you know what I mean?
He's big, man.
He's big. That's a hard
He's a
thing.
big boy.
Yeah.
Like, he carrying around a lot of weight. So
and with the
I'm
knees
super
of that
excited.
tall,
I'm super excited to be a part of the process and be a part of the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think he's a great teammate. He's a phenomenal team guy, right? And, we want to get out of the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten out of the second round of the playoffs since the Philadelphia 76ers went to the finals with LA and with
Iverson,
LA.
like 2000,
Wow.
like
Yeah, I
2001.
don't think they've been out of the second round. And it's kind of the same thing like SAC. We haven't been to the playoffs in 16 years.
Yeah.
They made it to the playoffs
And
this year.
What
so
a hell of a run they had this year, though,
great
man.
run.
That was so fun to watch.
Great
Like
run.
you talk about, Sacramento, how it used to be this cow town, and now they have this amazing arena and downtown area. And, I just kept seeing for the last couple of years, I'm like, God, when this team starts winning games, this place is going to be electric because the fans were already electric. And now, like, man, they are just so fun to watch. Like that's it. I mean, this whole area was just buzzing all season long, and it was a bit of a shame that it didn't work out. Obviously you're facing the Warriors the first round, like that's a tough draw.
But 7 games, right? Took the Warriors?
Went to 7 games, and that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. You're going against the reigning champs. They've been there before. They know what they're doing. I think that just was the best thing possible for this area was just to have that run. Now, obviously, it would have been nice to go to another round or two.
It would
but
have, man. I think Mike Brown came in and did a phenomenal job.
Unbelievable.
Him and his staff came in and did a phenomenal job. And I can truly say this, I learned a lot from those guys in a short amount of time that I was here. And I think, the Kings are going to be good. They're in good hands at the end of the day. They got some nice talent. They got De'Aaron. They got Sabonis. They got Keegan. They got Harrison, who's a potential free agent.
The veteran.
They got Davion Mitchell. Yeah. Right. They got some really solid pieces. They got Malik Monk, Kevin Herter.
Yep.
So they got solid pieces, man.
They're
and
deep, too. That's the thing.
Deep, right? They have, like any other team, they have things that they can get better with.
Of course.
And I'm pretty sure they'll attack that in the offseason, just like Philly. We got things that we got to get better with. We got to attack with and make sure we get better. Like being up 3-1 against Boston in the playoffs and we lose 7-game series. So there's things that we got to get better with, right? And I think every team's going into that because, number one, you got to be chasing down the Denver Nuggets, who just won the NBA championship.
Yeah.
Well, and you got the Celtics. It's a
Right
lot
there.
of teams in the East.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams.
So are you? So you leave the 26th?
I'm leaving on the 25th.
So how's that?
I got to be in there on the 26th.
How was that? Because I know you've been in Sacramento for how many years has it been?
23.
So
Yeah, this is came here in 2000.
Jeez, how is that? That's pretty tough, right? I mean, this is your home?
Yeah, this is home, man.
Yeah, we were excited for you, but I'm like, oh man, then he's gone.
Yeah, man. I've been here so long, man, and it's weird to be saying I'm going to Philadelphia. Not gonna lie, but I do feel like it's time for where I want to go and what I need to do in my career. I think this is a huge step for me. I think being here for so long, I think people forgot that I wanted to really coach. So for me, this is just a shot right? And, and a shot to show people what I can do, but also learn and grow and understanding the true meaning of becoming a head coach in this league. And I don't know if I'm going to become a head coach, but guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to work my ass off.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I've done. Right. And I wasn't the tallest in high school. I wasn't ranked in high school. I wasn't a McDonald All-American. Right. I was All-American in college, though.
Yeah.
What?
So, right. My path has always been hard. I've always had to work extra hard, even harder, pour in more hours. And some people, again, like I said, don't count other people's paths. Only focus on yours. Right. And I tell my kids this. Right? They want fast money, but they think it's coming quick.
So another thing.
Yeah, I got another thing for you, man. You're gonna have to put some years in.
Yeah.
Right. And I had a guy call me today. Was like, man, I want to get in the NBA, man. I want to coach, man. I feel like I got so much to offer, man. And right, I'm just right there, and I feel like I can give it. And what I got to do? I said, bro. I said this to him. I said, you know how long I've been coaching? I've been coaching since 2011. And this is my opportunity to be on the front. It's 2023.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You my partner, but it don't work that way. Right, man, what I got to do to get in? I don't know.
Work your ass off.
You got to work it. It ain't gonna happen overnight. And I think people forget that you have to put the work in. Like some people want you to say, hey, give me this job, give me this, just because you know me. No, man, nobody gave me anything. I literally had to start over to become a head coach, become player development, assistant coach, G League coach.
Yeah. Summer league.
Like win the summer league, go through my first year. We was 15-17 in G League. Then we was the best team in the G League at 25-7 this year. So, like, bro, like it doesn't happen, and some people just don't get that, right? And it's thing like, well, oh man, he played in the NBA. He assistant coach now, bro. Look how long it took me to do that.
Yeah.
And again, I don't count people's paths. I don't count people's steps, and I don't count their walk of life. I just worry on what I can control, and
you work hard and have opportunity.
You have to, and so many people want to get it the easy way. And for me, I'm a true reminder of like, bro, ain't nothing coming easy, right? And I like to be honest with people. I'm like, bro, you better find some communication. You better hop on somebody's tail, because if you don't have a foot in the door, it's tough, especially getting into the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're getting into the NBA and you coach high school basketball? It's tough. You think you're getting into the NBA and you coach college basketball? It's tough. You better be a top coach, right? And it's tough for average people to get in this job, because guess what? It's an exclusive club, right? And it's great when you hear the benefits is great, the travel is great, but people don't understand, like, the work is hard. It's really hard. So when you ask for something, you got to know that you got to be ready to bust your butt.
Yeah, and I tend to think that's a thing that people just expect. Oh, I'm just going to get a job in the NBA. It's just going to happen. No, you got to take that high school job. You got to, start small. And the thing is, you can have such a massive impact on these high school kids. You can learn how to coach through that. Do whatever you can. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone's going to get the opportunity to coach in the NBA, but help where you can. And maybe something will come out of it. Maybe you can run a camp. Maybe you could do something, But
some people don't want that, though.
I know.
Like, some people that, like, if you, like, I had a job for, my boy got a job at this college, and he was like, yeah, I need 2 coaches. Reached out to the coaches. One said yes. But yo, I got a job. I got an assistant coaching job for you. It's JUCO. Would you like to do it? You know what that person said? Nah, I'm waiting on a job in the NBA. Like, I feel like that's where my talent's going to take me.
Wow.
I'm literally, like, shit, it was crazy.
That's literally the stepping stone. You know what I mean? Like, you can do this job, and then maybe it does happen. But to think, nah, I'm just going to go straight. Like,
Bro,
unbelievable to me.
That person said to me, and I don't want to say if it's a girl, if it's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Person said to me, "No, I'm waiting for my I'm waiting for a job in the NBA." I'm like,
With no experience.
no experience.
Player?
Jeez.
Former player?
Played in
Okay.
college, but
So what?
no ties, don't have no connections, and you're turning down a JC job, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the balls to be like, what
You're
are
never
you doing?
going to make it. Yeah, with that
I'm like,
attitude.
like this
Yeah.
is a stepping stone. Like, just do it, figure it out. But people want to get to spots in life without putting the work in. They already have this projection of what they're doing and what they're not doing. Life don't work that way, right? And so for me, my kids already know how I feel about. Hey, listen, nothing's gonna be given to you. If I can help get you where you need to get to, and I can give you a little push, I'm gonna do it. But just know, like, the perks and the benefits with trying to move up in the world, it's hard. Like, you're gonna have to grind, right? And it's gonna be a hard grind, and it's gonna be slow. Like, so I'm super excited, man. Like, just to be a part of this process, right? Is amazing for me, and I'm excited to take this next step and this next journey in my life, in my career.
And we're I know it's crazy right now for you. I know you're a busy guy, and especially leaving here in, gosh, we're like 10 days,
Yeah.
something like that. We appreciate you coming here.
Really appreciate you.
Yeah, we're proud of you. We're sad to see you go, but I feel like this is the right move for you. And we want you back on here when you get your head coaching job.
Yeah, buddy.
When you're back here.
Breaking news. Two bees, one pod.
2 bees in a
We got
pod.
3 bees in a pod right now.
3 bees. You got 3 bees in a pod
Yeah.
now.
And we have Coach Andy Greer. I don't know if you know him. He's with the Knicks.
Okay.
He's going to come on. He's a family friend.
Okay.
But his journey is he's been an assistant for, man, I think he's in his 60s now. So it's going to be interesting to see that part of it because he wants that head coaching job so much, like that guy in the minors that played till he's 35 and got in. So it's going to be interesting to hear his
perspective, his path.
But again, we thank you for your time, man, and we love you. We appreciate you. We're excited for you, and thanks again for coming on.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching 2 Bees in a Pod. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, and thank you for all the love and support.